It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
A fine Saturday matinee to you both, Andy, Steve.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Greetings and salutations.
Nerds. How's things going? You guys having a good movie life? Good movie week?
Sure.
I think that characterizes mine as well. I've watched
I'm
watched
lost
things
in waves of enthusiasm.
And that's the challenge. Okay, so there's three that I've seen since we last talked, I believe. So actually, just last night, I got around to watching Marjorie Prime, which I remember we had talked about on a Saturday matinee. This is, Pete.
Right.
You got John Hamm in there, and this is an interesting film. It struggled with being adapted from a play, and it just felt like I'm watching a play. And I thought, well, if you're going to make this a movie, then you for me, you really need to translate it for that medium. And it didn't do a really good job of that. It just felt like I was watching a play. And great actors. You've got John Hamm and Gina Davis, and they weren't given enough to work with. And Tim Robbins, and I just, I wanted to love it more. And then I watched another one we discussed here. I think it was one of our trailer picks, the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, is now on Netflix, and another one that was, it started off really strong and then just became one of those, oh, well, there's this guy and that guy, and which guy is she going to end up with? And I felt really manipulated. Like there were story choices made to push it in a specific direction, and that was disappointing. But on the other end of the spectrum, I did get out to see BlacKkKlansman. So entirely different experience altogether. First Spike Lee movie I've seen in theaters since Inside Man. I had a great time with that. I'm really looking forward to seeing this one get some awards when we get around to award season, because I think it's a really powerful film and very entertaining as well.
So I have to go back to Marjorie Prime, though. How was Lois Smith? Because really,
Lois,
her film.
It's her film, right?
Not as much as you think it is.
Because she's the older lady, but there's this other versions of her, right?
No,
she's the one who has Alzheimer's, and they gift her like the holographic dead husband or whatever, right?
Right. That's how it starts, and then so that's like Act 1, and then Act 2 is she has passed away, and now Gina Davis is interacting with the sort of AI historical version of her mother, Marjorie, and we just sort of go through different versions. And it's an interesting study in memory, because these computer simulations only know as much as they've been told. So it's very interesting when so Tim Robbins plays the son-in-law. And so he's talking with John Hamm, who's the deceased husband of Marjorie, and he's telling him some information. He's like, well, now don't tell Tess, which is Marjorie's daughter, played by Gina Davis. He's like, don't tell them that I told you these things, but these are things that you, Walter, would know. And so it's kind of interesting to see how these different characters interact with these. It's sort of a memory version of a deceased family member, but it goes through different iterations. We sort of work our way through history. So it's not just so much about, Marjorie. It starts there. And I thought it was going to be a lot more about her and her relationship with her deceased husband, but that's only the first part.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought, because then we see
that's the trailer.
a younger Marjorie, and then like a 10-year-old Marjorie. And that's what I thought, but things started getting confused because of, I clearly need to see it.
Sure. Go ahead. I mean, it tackles some interesting subject matter about memory and history. And Tim Robbins has a line where he talks about memory, and apparently there's some research around this, that when we remember, what we really are remembering is not the memory itself, but our last recollection of that memory. And so it's like making a copy of a copy. The further along we get and the more times we remember something, it gets hazier and hazier because we're actually recalling not the initial memory, but then we create a memory of when we remembered it. And then that plays into sort of the story with these AI versions, because as they they only exist in as much detail as people remember stories to tell them. So by then creating these people, we're creating distorted versions of our memories. So it's interesting. It just execution. It just felt very stagey and seemed more focused on writing good lines rather than really creating good characters that I felt some connection with. So that's my issue with Marjorie Prime.
I'm in Portland with Pete, which is a nice change of pace, and we actually went out and saw Perfect Blue, a Satoshi Kon movie that was having a little theatrical re-release, and so we checked that out, and it was a great experience. It was a nice one to see in theaters, just because there's a lot happening in the film, and it's a very twisty story though, and Satoshi Kon didn't direct many movies because he died at a young age, only four films, but now that was the final one that I've seen, and I will say they're all worth watching. It's a really interesting spread of films that Kon directed, and this one was a really twisty, I guess you could almost say like a Hitchcockian sort of mystery story, but it also is dealing with perceptions of reality and stuff. It's really fascinating. So that's what's going on in my movie world lately, and I would highly recommend it.
Don't take the kids.
Don't take the kids.
Don't.
No.
Okay.
Satoshi Kon.
But Dad,
they're
it's
animated
a cartoon.
films, but yeah, not for the.
I've learned that lesson many times.
Even I would not take the kids.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's really a strong warning then.
Well, okay, one of them. I wouldn't take one of them. The other one I would.
The other one you take and just feel really awkward and uncomfortable around.
I feel weird about it, but I'd probably do it. Who am I kidding? Yeah, and then we're here actually. Andy's up here for the XOXO Festival. And
the Hugs and Kisses Festival?
It is the Hugs and Kisses Festival. It's exactly
a very loving place.
What it's like. We had a fantastic meetup with a bunch of other podcasters last night, and that was super fun. But yesterday afternoon, but then last night we attended the film and animation event festival, part of the festival, and saw some wonderful shorts from some up and coming animators that were just delightful. We saw the Victoria Vincent, if you are interested in some really cool animation from a young and clearly deep feeling animator. Check out Victoria Vincent's animation on YouTube. She's just wonderful. And who else do we see right after that? We saw the follow-up. Graham Annable and the Grickle channel. Graham Annable is an animator and story artist over at Leica, and he came and showed a whole bunch of his shorts, and you can see a bunch of them on his YouTube channel at the Grickle channel. Totally worth it in terms of seeing short-form story, and I think a guy who deeply enjoys playing with time and how he uses time to make the jokes work. Really great stuff. And then we saw a little bit of a sneak of the follow-up to BoJack Horseman. If you're a BoJack Horseman fan, Netflix has got something coming up that is going to be fantastic. And I don't think we're even allowed to talk about it. They were pretty clear. But suffice it to say, there is something from the creators of BoJack Horseman, and if you're a fan, it should be good. And it's about birds. There you go. That's all we can say, and it's really cool. We explicitly can say it looks really cool. So.
Yeah, I think that's what we were given permission to say.
Yes. Yeah. So we've got another several days of great festival coming up. XOXO is a very cool, very different kind of creative convention. So if you're into this sort of thing, check out XOXOfest.com and get on the mailing list to see when the next one comes around. Should we do trailers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Anybody have A24?
No A24, Red Band.
Nobody drew A24 Red Band. All right.
No.
Steve, why don't you?
Rock, paper, scissors.
I was going to say mine's reddish. There's a lot of red in my trailer. So I'll take that.
Go for it.
Okay. So I have to preface this by saying I spent a lot more time exploring my trailer and the story about this film than I did on my list. So just let me start with that, because I picked Anna and the Apocalypse because, number one, it's zombies. Number two, it's a musical, and I thought this is really fun. We're getting up toward the Halloween season. This is something that's light and fun. It had a feel, reminded me a lot of Zombieland. So I thought this is a movie I want to go with. So I started, doing my research. When is this coming out? Who created this thing? What's going on? And I ended up down a interesting rabbit hole. So Anna and the Apocalypse, which was written by Ryan McHenry, it is actually a remake of a BAFTA award-winning short that was written and directed by Ryan McHenry. And I've got a link to the original short that was it's on YouTube. They then tried to launch a Kickstarter. So the short was from, I think, around 2011, 2012. Tried to launch a Kickstarter, raised less than $2,000, project died. As they were funding that, trying to get that going, you may recall way back in the, early 2010s, I guess we would call it, a series of vines called Ryan Gosling Won't Eat His Cereal. Those were,
I don't recall those.
You don't recall these?
No.
Andy, do you know the Ryan Gosling Won't Eat His Cereal vines?
I have never followed anything on Vine.
What? Okay. So it's,
sorry.
Ryan Gosling's on, they taken little clips from interviews and films, and it's on a TV screen. And then from off camera, a spoonful of cereal will slowly make its way toward Ryan Gosling's face, and he'll either turn away, and one he actually knocks the spoon down. Anyway, those were
I'm watching it right now. It's brilliant.
Yes, those were created by Ryan McHenry, and so those were getting they were going viral at the time they were trying to launch this Kickstarter, and they were still only able to raise less than $2,000, which I guess could be quite discouraging. And then in 2015, actually, Ryan passed away due to cancer. So just a tragic story. Never got to see this short realized into an actual feature film, but it is here now, being released in limited release in the US, November 30th, 2018. Anna and the Apocalypse, a musical zombie film about high school students in a zombie apocalypse. I encourage you to go watch the short to get the sense of the musical numbers. It's just so much fun that I'm looking forward to something like this. There's not, I guess, a lot of clamoring for more zombie films, but when they get made, they find their audience. And I think it's a shame that this film wasn't able to, make it into production, get out there while Ryan was alive to see this realized, because it looks like so much fun. And again, I guess I'm back in my wheelhouse of movies about teenagers in high school, but again, taking the zombie genre and just twisting it into something that looks like so much fun. I can imagine next year hosting, a Anna and the Apocalypse sing-along at my house for Halloween.
I'm totally into this movie. I'm into this movie in a big way.
I knew you would be.
Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? But I mean, it takes me back, sure, to, I think definitely some overtones of Zombieland, but I go back to Once More with Feeling, the fantastic Buffy episode that was, a musical number. And I think that I just love this particular, I'm a musical nerd. I like this particular mashup suits me in all kinds of fantastic ways. Checks all the boxes.
I want to like it.
Oh, Andy.
No, it looks like it's everything that
Andy.
it should be.
So predictable.
But unfortunately, when I watch the trailer, there's not enough in there that makes me excited. I feel like, they're just doing all the same tropes of Shaun of the Dead or any other kind of zombie comedy. And I guess I needed to see a little more of the musical part or something to just give me a little more motivation to think that it's actually going to be really exciting. But the musical element of it is not even really in the trailer. And so I was a little disappointed about that, actually.
Well, it's disappointed in you and what you've done lately, too.
Well, I will make sure I get the link out for posting in the show notes of the short, which is about 17 minutes long. And it's got, I think, 3 or 4 musical numbers in it. So you can get a sense of what it looks like.
How were they?
The opening one I found really catchy, a lot of fun. There's there's a teacher that's got one that I didn't click with it. Didn't think it was that great of a song, but I'm looking forward to seeing that, to take this seed and what additional numbers and that they bring into this, because again it's the condensed low budget version. So I'm looking forward to.
Was it called the same thing?
It's called Zombie Musical.
Oh, that's right, Zombie.
It's a zombie musical, yes.
And when's it come out?
Comes out limited release in the U.S. November 30th.
Gotcha. Limited release, huh?
Yeah, that's what it says. I know.
Hurry, wait. Is there a buzz? Kill it. Andy's here to kill it.
All right. Well, who wants to go next, Pete? Do you want to go?
No, it's all you. I think it's all you.
Yeah.
I've got a blanket I want to soak here on your trailer. So go ahead.
I see it. Well, my next film, I was struggling trying to find the right trailer to talk about. And I ended up going with Yorgos Lanthimos' next film, which when I saw that he was directing this film called The Favorite, that's exactly what I needed to go. That's the trailer I want to talk about. Yorgos did The Lobster and The Killing of Sacred Deer, and I find an incredibly interesting director. In this particular case, it's not a project that he had written, or neither he nor his writing partner. And this one instead was written by Deborah Davis and Tony McNamara. And it's a British period film, so it seemed totally outside of his wheelhouse. But the way that the trailer unfolds, I found really just fantastic characters, and made me feel like this is something that Yorgos could be bringing just a really interesting story to this world of British royalty. The story is about Queen Anne when she was running things back in the early 18th century. And her two cousins are trying to be her favorite. And Olivia Colman plays the Queen, and Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone play the two cousins. And it's fantastic watching these little catfights between these women as they try to be the one who is in the Queen's favor. And that's just what got me really excited about it, is just watching the wonderful acting of Rachel and Emma opposite Olivia as they're doing everything they can to gain the Queen's power. So I don't know. I think Yorgos has become a director that when he's making a film, just seeing his name attached instantly gets me excited, because even if I don't necessarily love the films that he's doing, I find them some of the most fascinating films that are getting made. So what do you guys think of this one?
Oh, dumb. I wish I could get more excited about it. No, I regretfully, I really enjoyed this trailer. I think it's got a great spirit, and I love the idea, or I just love anytime Rachel Weisz is in a film like this. I'm very excited about it. I think she's just so great. But in particular, playing the Queen, I just think she looks. What's her name playing the Queen? I lost my tab.
Olivia Colman.
Oh, Olivia. In particular, playing the Queen, Olivia Colman looks just terrific in terms of what she's bringing to the screen. I'm very excited about this. I think it's going to be very entertaining. Certainly a different spin on a period piece.
I thought we'd talked about this in a trailer pick like a week or two ago, because I must have come across this somewhere else, maybe as a teaser or something, because I remember seeing bits of this and thinking, oh yeah. And then I thought, oh no, we already talked about this. Now I am super excited about this. I love The Lobster, to see Olivia Colman and Rachel Weisz working with Yorgos again. And then bringing Emma Stone into the mix. It has this, just the catty rivalry between the two of them trying to, be the Queen's favorite. I'm looking forward to this as my birthday, binge when this comes out later this fall, because I am all about films like this. It's a period piece, but it's not a dry, stuffy, boring period piece. I'm looking for a lot of fun out of this. And knowing it's Yorgos, some really dark humor I'm expecting.
Yeah, the script was described as a bawdy, acerbic tale of royal intrigue, passion, envy, and betrayal. And I think that it comes through. There's definitely that bodiness with this trailer. It's really going to give us something that's not stuffy. So I'm quite excited about it. And it looks like it's been in the festival circuit still, but it's going to hit the U.S. here right around Thanksgiving, November 23rd, before it heads over to Australia on the 26th of December, and then everywhere else in the world, starting in the UK and Ireland. It starts playing January 1st, 2019.
My trailer is a little bit of a different tone here. It's called My Dinner with Erev, and it is a film for HBO. So it's gonna jump straight to HBO about the later days of actor Hervé Villechaize. And I don't know. I was not a huge Fantasy Island fan, but man, Hervé Villechaize was just iconic. For me growing up, I always knew who this guy was, and so I didn't know a whole lot about him, but I certainly knew that who he was in popular entertainment. I was kind of always aware that he was around and working, and this tells a story of his relationship with this reporter Sasha Gervasi, who spent time with him, and then Herv did this interview with him and killed himself in 1993. And so this actually was written and directed by Gervasi. So it's am I right on that? I may need to take that back. It was written and directed by Gervasi, and yes, he was. Who died after this interview with Gervasi. And so I think it takes place at an interesting time. It is the role of Villechaize is performed by Peter Dinklage, who I have enormous respect for as an actor, and I think he's just looking at him as he embodies this character is enormously satisfying. Jamie Dornan plays my guess is he plays a fictionalized version of Gervasi himself. Andy Garcia plays Ricardo Montalban, who obviously spent a great deal of time with Villechaize in the production of Fantasy Island, and so I think it just looks like a wonderful portrayal of a really struggling actor in the last days of his life. So what'd you guys think? Are you interested in this one?
I'm so interested in it. Like you, I grew up knowing who he was, and I was a big Fantasy Island fan. And I just loved his part of it. It was just such a unique character. And then you see him in The Man with the Golden Gun, and it's like such a different, more mischievous character. I always was just in love with him as a character, and I never knew anything about the man. And so this to me looks like an exciting opportunity to learn a little bit more about who this guy is, and get some of his story. And so yeah, super fascinating. I also love that it is a biopic about somebody in the industry. So you have somebody playing Merv Griffin, somebody playing Aaron Spelling, Britt Eklund.
Right.
It's always fun to just see these people playing these well-known Hollywood icons.
I was disappointed that we didn't get more of that in the trailer too, especially Garcia. I'm super interested in how Garcia plays Montalban. I think that's an interesting casting choice, and I'm looking forward to that. We didn't get a lot of that.
No,
that's what they're going to get you. That's how they're drawing you in. You want to see.
That's right.
You want to see.
Sucked me in.
You want to see Andy Garcia. Welcome to Fantasy Island. I want
to see Andy Garcia with the chest piece from Star Trek 2.
See, that's the thing. Garcia would need a chess piece. Montalban never needed a chess piece.
Oh, this will be fun. When is this hitting HBO that I don't have, and I'll have to Find a way to
you will find a way.
Find a way to subscribe to HBO Go or whatnot. Yeah.
That'll be October 20th in the U.S. I don't know how HBO release dates impact international release dates. My assumption is it's a global release on HBO, but this just says specifically U.S. 20 October 2018.
All right.
Very cool.
All right. The lists. Oh, gentlemen, I think the Patreon community was kind to us this week.
Well, if anything, we've learned that they love montages.
That's right. That's right. It's montages all the way down here at the Saturday Matinee. I think we could call this list the Curse of Riches list. There are a lot of montages. I'm excited to see what you guys came up with. Steve, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, I don't even know where to start. If I go with like the obvious classic, which will probably be a steal, or if I go with something, if I start with the deep cuts. Oh, where do I begin? I'll go with one of my favorite movies. I will go with one of my favorite comedies. I am going to go with, well, we're talking about training montages, and so when you're training for something, typically you get into the area of sports. Because you've got to improve as an athlete, or a team has got to work to get better in their skills. And for me, the classic dodgeball training sequence, as you've got Rip Torn in his wheelchair screaming, throwing wrenches, gets me every single time. I can just watch that over and over again, and I will always laugh.
The wrenches, that was the best part.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah.
That is a great one.
Such a great pick.
So fantastic.
Yeah, I can't believe that's not a steal. I feel like that's right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't even think about that.
I know, me neither. Dodgeball, number 3 for Steve. What's yours,
Yes.
Andy?
I went down. It's interesting. You start looking at training montages. One, I was surprised how many sites had done the 25 best training montages.
Yes.
It's like clearly people think a lot about training montages, which cracked me up. I went down a different direction though, because I knew so many of them were likely so obvious and just great. I mean, there are a lot of great training montages. And I opted to very specifically pick animated training montages.
Ah, okay.
So for my first one, I am going with the one that I probably get the most laughs from, and it's from Kung Fu Panda, which is, I actually really enjoy the Kung Fu Panda films. I think they're really funny. I think Jack Black really embodies this fantastically hungry panda who has to learn the art of Kung Fu and become a master. And what his master learns is that in order to train this panda, who was picked by the great one to be the next Kung Fu master, the way to train him is through his belly. And so he has to train him by tempting him with food. And so it's this whole montage of him trying to get him to get these dumplings from him, and it's a hilarious montage as he is offering him dumplings and beating up the panda, as the panda slowly learns the art of Kung Fu through his stomach. So it was a fantastic little joy to watch. That's number 1 for me, Kung Fu Panda.
It is a terrific montage. I feel like I don't know. I like that you went and are doing a series of animated, specifically genre-based, theme-based montages. I am not. I'm going with the most obvious because they are my favorite. And the first one, which served to redefine the montage for me, is the ridiculous montage in Team America World Police, the We Need a montage. As we are training our puppet heroes in the arts of martial arts, in weightlifting, in reading, and all to that fantastic Trey Parker, Matt Stone song, as we watch Kim Jong-il being inducted into the peace accord and inviting world leaders to see him win this award. I just love this montage. And so, whatever you think of the movie, the montage and the song are fantastic.
You're so meta. You are so meta. The montage
I am
about
very
montages.
meta. You bet I am.
I like how you say that you're going a different route, yet the first one you pick is an animated
movie.
Yes.
I know, right? But that's the only one that is
right.
It'd be very tough to claim that my next two are animated.
Well, I knew you were going to pick that one, so
I know
didn't
you
put
did.
it on my list.
I'm so predictable. All right, Steve, number two.
Okay, number two. I'm going to go back into you know what's my wheelhouse? Things taking place in a school. You've got kids that need to learn things, and if you've got a lot of learning to happen and a lot of time has got to pass, the ideal thing is to do a montage. And Andy, I think Jack Black is just one of my favorites, and so School of Rock, the training the band montage where he's got each of his band members and he's showing, here's Pete Townsend with his windmill guitar technique, showing that, and he's training the keyboardist how to, dynamically play the keyboard, and he's just having all these little one-on-one sessions as a song plays over, and we see him teaching these kids what it means to be, rock gods in a band.
That's a fantastic choice.
So good, and I really enjoyed this movie. I still haven't seen the musical. We should go see the musical.
I haven't seen it either. But I think the movie's fantastic, and it is a great Jack Black movie. It's Richard Linklater, which it was kind of a surprising film for him. Although he's one of those directors who's always kind of surprising me with some of the things that he steps off to do.
Yeah.
But fantastic pick. I loved it.
Okay. Well, animated number two, Andy. Animated number two.
For my next one, we're going to get down to business to defeat the Hun.
Yeah.
This
I knew you were going to do this.
Yes, of course. It's such a good one.
Not only is it a training montage, but they build a whole song out of it as we are training the inept soldiers how to actually fight. And this is a fun little song where you have Captain Shang, in this particular case, singing by Donny Osmond, although B.D. Wong does the voice for the rest of the film. Training these soldiers, including Mulan, how to actually fight, and teaching them all the art of weaponry and defense. And it's just a terrible group of soldiers. And initially they start out, Mulan, of course, is a woman disguised as a man, and you have them kind of picking on her/him, but over the course of the song, we see them learning how to fight. We see Mulan as the one who, at the beginning of it, Captain Shang has shot this arrow at the top of this big pole, and somebody needs to get it off of it. And at the end of the song, we see that Mulan has finally figured out the trick to get it. And it's just a very inspirational song as these soldiers become a team and actually learn to go forth and fight. And it's a great movie. I love this one. It's a fun one to watch with the kids. Yes, it's a little dark as they come over the hill and find, burned out villages. It can be a little dark if you think about it, but it's a great Disney film, and so that's choice number two.
My choice number two, I am going again back to my teenage years, where I explore the wonders of becoming an immortal and try to answer the question, why doesn't Christopher Lambert just kill Sean Connery? Just take his head. He takes the sword out of his hand, throws it off a cliff. Just take his head and end it. I never understood that. I'm talking about Highlander from 1986, the montage of Sean Connery playing a Spaniard, trying to teach Christopher Lambert how to become an immortal and how to fight with swords. It's just one of my very favorite movies. I think it may be a guilty pleasure now. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that I really love this movie legitimately, but I do love this movie legitimately. Whatever it takes for me to say I love this movie, I will say it in that spirit. I have a great time with this movie. Clancy Brown is amazing. Sean Connery as the Spaniard is amazing. Come on.
Oh, you feel no shame for loving this movie. It has a special place. I mean, look at what has come from it. There were multiple sequels, a TV series that came from it, all of which pale in comparison to the original. No, you can proudly say I love Highlander. There can be only one.
There can be only one.
Yeah.
It is well enough
not
over
according to
the
makers
6-star.
who made plenty of sequels.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Well, yeah.
It is well over the 6-star rule. It's 7.2 on IMDb, so it is fair game. I'm saying.
No,
anyway.
that's.
I never enjoyed it the first time I watched it, but I feel like I need to rewatch it because I feel like I might have just missed some things, or maybe I just hated the music so much.
Oh yeah, well, the music will probably seem much worse. And
you know what you should do though? This is what you should do. You should start the montage scene in Highlander, but play the montage music from Mulan. And it's the same thing.
Oh my!
I'll feel much better about it.
There's a project for you, Andy.
Let's get down to business. That's fantastic.
It's not the Hunt, but the Kurgan. I mean, you can make it work. You can make it work.
Goodness!
Highlander. All right. Next
good
number is
pick.
the number one pick.
Okay.
Number one pick round.
Okay, I don't believe. I mean, when you talk montages, there's one that set the standard. I think for montages for jingoistic propaganda in the 80s to have an evil Russian training with machines and Sylvester Stallone out on a farm working hard like a man with lumber in the snow. Rocky IV training montage, the montage to end all montages.
I'm so sad.
No, it's
we knew a Rocky film was going to end up on this list.
Andy, you shut up. I almost had all 3 Rocky montages on this list, but that Steve would go to the evil Russian. I thought there was a chance after getting through the entire list so far that maybe I could get Rocky IV on my list.
No, well,
it's so good.
It's
in fact
beats
I'm not
all
gonna
other
even go to
Rocky
a back
montages. No, that's
totally.
That's it. And then to tie in the other pieces, you've got Creed 2. We're coming back to the Russians again. So we're back in the place we were 33 years ago with film in the Rocky franchise, sort of, I guess we can say, with American fighting a Russian again. So we'll see how well the training montage there holds up against this classic piece of mid-'80s propaganda cinema.
It's so classic.
Does every Rockies movie have a training montage?
Of course it does.
Is that like a standard of every film?
Well, how else is he going to be a fantastic boxer if he doesn't montage his way to the top?
That's right.
I figure by the time he's boxed a couple movies, he doesn't need to do the training montages anymore. I don't know.
Oh God, I can't wait till the spring.
Well, and I realized, I thought and I'm surprised. Why has there not been a Rocky series? Why has the next reel not done a Rocky series?
Check the schedule.
Is it the
schedule?
Oh, okay.
And ask Andy how many Rocky movies he's seen. Go ahead.
I know.
I can't wait to hear the answer to this.
There can be only
1.5. Where were you in the 80s, Andrew? What was going on?
Avoiding Rocky
What?
movies.
Rocky 2? Rocky 3 with Mr. T and Hulk Hogan? What? Come on! Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait. I am actually.
I can.
Oh man. Okay. This was such a great montage because
it's going to be like the Ocean series.
It's maybe. No, I still love the Ocean's movies. You didn't smash. Look, I think this montage is so great because it's long. It's like 8 minutes long it's like a double montage because we get Rocky fighting beef and running from cars in the snow. And he runs so fast. Rocky runs so fast in this montage that he causes chase cars to crash. And they can't even keep up with him on foot. It's amazing. He plays the part of an ox. He's amazing.
Yes.
And at the same time, Drago gets his own montage interleaved with the science montage.
Yes.
And I'm giddy with excitement when I watch Drago because you think he's using the power of science. Science, of course, is going to win the day over these rudimentary sides of beef training tools. Oh, it turns out these tried old tools, they have a place in this world of modernity. It's saying so much.
I love that you love it.
All right.
Well,
go ahead, Andy.
Go ahead.
Can you beat Rocky IV?
He can't. He can't.
I can.
No.
I can.
No way.
Oh, absolutely.
You've already lost.
Probably not. According to you two, I'll never win. There are certainly a lot of, as I found, animated training montages, more than I realized. But when I watched them all, I'm like, oh, there's another one. There were quite a few. But I went with what is one of my favorite Pixar films. And it's not about the art and the science of boxing. It is about the art and science of cooking. It is, of course, Ratatouille. And there's a wonderful training montage when Remy, the rat, has to teach Linguini, the kind of idiot, how to cook, so that they can fake this whole thing of cooking in this restaurant, becoming a chef. And Linguini is blindfolded with a tie, and Remy is sitting on top of his head in his apartment. And Remy has realized that if he kind of lightly tugs on Remy's hair, that he can get Linguini to actually cook. And it's a fun little montage as Remy is learning just the right way to get Linguini to actually cook. And it ends with, of course, them in the restaurant, Remy hiding under Linguini's hat and working as a chef in the restaurant. It's a really fun montage. It's nowhere near as lengthy or as in-depth as the one from Rocky 4 or 3, whichever one that was.
Oh my.
But I know. But it is very adorable, and I really love this particular film. So that's my final pick, Ratatouille.
I love this film too. That's a great pick, and I feel like I don't know what it is about Ratatouille, but it is one of my very top favorite Pixar films, and
mine too. Yeah,
I feel like that is not a commonly shared belief.
Sadly, I think you're right.
I'm very
but
sad.
It's a shame because more people should love it.
More people should love it.
Yes,
it's wonderful.
It's one that I hold close to my heart, and I'm glad that it isn't one of those that just gets all this attention because it makes it even more special for me. So that's how I consider it.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. I don't have to share it with the world. It's just
you don't
it's
have
special
to, share
to me.
It's and your special.
It's my exactly.
Right.
I love it.
This is a good list, gents. What are we gonna do?
Wait.
What's your
no?
final?
No. I stand on Rocky 4. Are you kidding?
No, yeah.
I'm not going into my deep cuts. I feel so strongly about Rocky 4 as the best montage of the 80s. I'm not. It's not even worth going into my backups.
There's no Woody Allen montage. Wow. There's no Woody Allen training montage you could find.
Nope, I'm not even digging into Woody Allen movies.
Okay,
that's funny.
So, what are we doing next week?
Well, we're ending our Planet of the Apes series with Battle for the Planet of the Apes. So, what is it? We've got Final Battles. We've got underground cities.
Is there a montage? Is there a battle montage we can do?
Battle montage? No.
There's people faking their death to pull the Trojan horse on their enemy.
Okay. Well, there is also Trojan horse knockoffs.
So yeah, we could do Trojan horse knockoffs, massacres.
Great cinematic massacres. Hey, you could get Mulan in there.
Oh, I could.
Ouch.
We could certainly do battles, like battle films. I mean, there are so many battle films that have just battle after battle. So, I mean, we could always throw that in there. Death of a Child. Let's go for all the cheery options this week.
How about Death of a Child montages?
Jeez.
Well, also disappointing final films in a series. Wait, did I spoil anything there?
We could certainly throw that out there. I don't know if it matters if we spoil that.
That ship sailed.
Oh my.
Steve, any options stand out as the highlights for you?
Steve hasn't watched this movie in a long time.
No, I haven't since 1970 something or so when it was on WGN. I don't know. Death of a Child. That's gonna broaden the scope. That happens in a lot of movies, so you can go different routes with that. Final battles, I think, or big battles. I mean, that's really broad. And what else was there?
There was Trojan horse knockoffs.
Trojan horse. That might be interesting. I don't know how I'm going to find a list of movies
I know,
around that,
that's going to be tricky.
That's tricky, but there's different ways that can play out, which will be interesting to see different ways that people interpret that, if that ends up being a list of what that means. And I'm intrigued by that one, which I'd prefer having one like that and see if the community is going to challenge us on that, or they'll let us get away with like a child can't be killed by a train montage.
Luckily, there are no trains in this movie.
There are no trains. We don't have. Yeah, or battles. I guess, is there anything specific about this battle that would allow us to refine that so it's not so broad? Because battle could be just.
Well, I don't know if it matters if we're broad, does it?
I don't know. Okay.
I don't think so. I think that opens us up to more movies.
Okay.
I like it. So, Final Battles, Trojan Horse, and Death of a Child.
Yeah.
Final battle films, Death of a Child, and Trojan Horse.
That's it.
Yeah.
Trojan Horse-ish.
Ish.
There doesn't actually have to be anyone from Troy or a horse to make that work. It just has to be the Trojan Horse Gambit.
Right.
That ought to be interesting.
Okay, so I'll say Final Battle Films, Death of a Child, and Trojan Horse-ish scenes. Does that work?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We've got the poll up. So get your votes in, everybody.
All right. That's fantastic. Well, thank you, gents. It's a fine Saturday morning to talk with you about movies. Good lists. Hope everybody checks it out, especially Rocky IV, which is the best montage of all and certainly beats all of Andy's choices combined.
I'm disappointed that none of us put Dirty Dancing on our lists, but they didn't animate that one.
Turns out they do put Baby in the corner.
Turns out they do.
Turns out sometimes they do. Babies are in the corner. All right. It's a good week. We've got to get to the conference.
We do.
We got to hustle. Thanks, Steve, for checking in. I'm disappointed you didn't drive up to Portland, but what are you going to do?
I will have to make it up there for the next Hugs and Kisses festival, I guess.
Outstanding. Oh, I look forward to that already. Thank you, everybody, for downloading, supporting the show over at patreon.com. We really appreciate your participation and your dollars to help us do fun things like, keep the site running and keep us in equipment and keep us doing this fun show. So thank you, everybody, and we'll catch you next week.
See ya.
Hondo.